Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to have a look at this question. Now, the question is, solve for x in the logarithm of 48 to base 4 plus the logarithm of 24 to base 4 minus 2 log x base 4 equals to 5 over 2. Now, we need to apply the laws of logarithms to solve for the value of x. Therefore, looking at this equation keenly, on our left-hand side, because this is the left-hand side, we have logarithms that are of the same base. That is, they are of to base 4. And therefore, we can combine them to be a logarithm of a single number. And therefore, in this case, we can combine the first two. We can combine the first two. That is the logarithm of 48 to base 4 and the logarithm of 24 to base 4. We can combine them. And therefore, we shall have the logarithm of 48 to base 4. Then, because of this addition sign, and these are logarithms of the same base, then we can multiply 48 with 24 directly. Now, from there, we shall also have minus the logarithm of x to base 4. There is this 2 that is behind the logarithm sign. And therefore, from the laws of logarithms, we can remove this 2 so that it becomes a power of x. And therefore, it will be the logarithm of x squared to base 4, then equals to 5 over 2. Now, reaching at that point, we can also combine this and this to be a logarithm of a single number, so that we have, that is the logarithm of 48 times 24 is 1152 from the calculator. Then, because this logarithm and this one, they are of the same base and there is a minus in between, then we can combine this one with this one by division. That is, 48 times 24 is 1152. Then because of this minus, we shall have divided by x squared. Then they are of the same base, that is, they are of to base 4. Then we close the bracket that way. Then equals to 5 over 2. Now, reaching at this point, it is now simpler because looking at this is in logarithmic notation. And therefore, we can write it in index notation. That is, we can write 4 raised to this number equals to this. And therefore, in this case, we shall have 4 raised to 5 over 2 equals to 1152 all over x squared. And in that case, 4 raised to 5 over 2 can be written as 4 raised to a half. Then we close the bracket raised to 5. There is no difference between this one and this one, because from the laws of indices, because this is an integral expression. That is 4 raised to a half, then close the bracket raised to 5. So from the basic laws of indices, for example, a raised to m, then close the bracket raised to n is just the same as a raised to mn. That is, you combine the powers through multiplication. The same applies to this. And therefore, looking at this one and this one, I have not changed anything. And therefore, we shall have this one then equals to 1152 all over x squared. Now, 4 raised to a half is the same as the square root of 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. And therefore, we shall have 2 raised to this 5 equals to 1152 all over x squared. Now 2 raised to 5 is 32, and therefore we shall have 32 equals to 1152 all over x squared. Now from there we can multiply by x squared on both sides, that is by x squared on both sides. This dot denotes multiplication, so this one and this one simplifies, and therefore x squared times 32 is 32 x squared, then equals to 1152. And if I divide by 32 on both sides, then I will have x squared equals to this one and this one cancels, and therefore by 32 1 by 32 36, and therefore x squared equals to 36. Now this implies that our x will be the square root of 36, and the square root of 36 is plus or minus 6. Therefore, the value of x is either positive 6 or negative 6. That is positive 6 or negative 6. Those are the two possible values of x.